Good to have you on the stream. Hope you had a very good day. We get you ready for the weekend, and you can say goodbye to the Pac 12 as we have known it. Pretty amazing, right? Washington, Oregon State going to the Big 10, Big 12, Arizona State, Utah. Wow. All over TV money because the Pac 12 could not come up with a network TV deal. Digital TV, that may be the wave of the future. Apple TV is not going to cut it in 2023. And so the teams like Oregon, like Washington, right? We saw what happened last year with USC and UCLA. 4 teams left now in the Pac-12, man. It's amazing. I think I speak for a lot of people. I grew up in an era where, the Pac-10, the Pac-12, and I mean, it was top shelf. And now it's pretty much non-existent. So big news in the college landscape. All right. Big time news. All right. Glad to have you on. Yes, indeed, Connor. Says rest in peace, Pac-12. Boy, it's really sad. And I guess it is what it is. Think about the travel that's involved for like a Washington and an Oregon, UCLA, USC. I mean, we can go on and on. Mark says, John McKay rolling in his grave. Yep, absolutely. Very true. Connor puts on the message that the USC scandal of 2010 may have been the beginning of the end for the Pac-10/12. We just didn't know at the time. Good point. Could very well be. So big news in the college sports landscape. All right, I am going to be doing a 30-minute show today. I've got a travel commitment that I've got to get to. So give me the questions. Let me hear what you have to say, and let's get on with it. All right. NFL last night, Hall of Fame game. The Jets and the Browns. Again, very, very little to take out of that. It was just good to see football, regardless of who was playing. Again, no starters. None of the top line players. So, and I've said this, and I'm going to continue to say it. If you're a quarterback in the NFL, you better look good in a preseason game like that. All right. So I don't want to hear about Zach Wilson did this, Zach Wilson did that. You better look like you know what the hell you're doing in a preseason game going against vanilla backup defenses. All right. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right. I haven't gotten to this, but I will now. Somebody wants to know my thoughts on the Anthony Davis extension. I don't quite understand it. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, did they not have a choice? But, I don't understand it. I really don't. Anthony Davis, who gets hurt getting, out of bed in the morning, signs a deal of $186 million. The extension goes through 2028. I mean, so now his total contract, I'm reading right here, is $270 million. By the way, it's the richest annual contract extension in NBA history, averaging $62 million annually. For Anthony Davis, I mean, if you break it down per game, all right? If you break it down per game, that's a hell of a lot of money considering that the guy misses so much of the action. I mean, it's good money if you can get it, right? I think it's an overreach big time. Think about this. Let me give you games played. Last year, 56 games played. 40 before that. Now, understand we had the season disrupted with the pandemic. 36, 2019-20, 62, 56 in 2018-2019, 75, 75, 61, 68, 67, 64. I mean, you're paying a guy that kind of money who hasn't come close to playing a full season in the NBA with the exception of 2 years 2016 and 17, 2017 and 18. It's ridiculous. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Amazing. All right, Sea-Dog, bring it to me, buddy. What a disgrace from the NFL players to leave off Andrew Thomas from the top 100 unless he's in the top 10. Well, you got to wait till the list comes out because I can't imagine he would not be among the top 100 players in the NFL. You know, I really don't. Cody says, I like all of the New York Giants receivers. They are, let me see this. I feel like all the New York Giant receivers are slot type receivers. There you go, Cody. Well, here's what I think about the Giants receivers. If Darren Waller and Saquon Barkley can play in the majority of the games, the Giants wide receivers are going to have a big year. Okay? Because you have to account for Darren Waller. You have to account for him. You cannot ignore him. He's that good. He's that dominant. And then Saquon Barkley changes what you can do defensively, against the Giants. So when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, play action is extremely effective. Waller and the other receivers should have big years for the New York Giants. There you have it. All right? There you have it. Let's see here. Says Grant, miss you and the Listen app crew. Can't wait for Kings basketball. Dorian. Well, first of all, I still do Listen app. I only do it normally on Mondays and Wednesdays now, once in a while on Fridays, but I'm just going where I'm getting a much larger audience than I do on Listen app. Now, I do get a good size audience on Listen app when I post it on my platform, and people are able to listen to it that evening or the next day. But we're still going to be on Listen app. All right, we're going to still be on Listen app. All right, everyone is saying that the Giants will regress this year and miss the playoffs. Makes no sense to me. Sea-Dog, it's interesting you say that. I had a conversation earlier today with a guy that is extremely well connected in the NFL and knows more about the New York Giants than you and I do. Okay? He is unbelievably connected with the Giants organization and people that work for the Giants. And he thinks they are going to as well because of their schedule. He told me this morning when I was speaking with him that he thinks that the Giants will not be as good record-wise this year, but next year he thinks is the year that they will make a big-time leap. And he said the schedule this year is the apprehension, but he said that they're so well coached that they may be able to overcome that. But he was talking about the schedule being the big issue. So, keep that in mind. All right. Eagles did lose some players. They lost their coordinators, but they're still loaded. They're still very good. They're still very good. All right. Somebody said, Grant, I have bought tickets for the Kings-Warriors preseason game at Chase Center. I'm going to yell at Draymond. Good for you. He probably won't be playing, but you can yell at him anyway. Somebody wants to know my thoughts on Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. Good. Let's see what happens when the season starts. But, I don't put anything in the NFL preseason. I just never have. I just don't. To me, I look at injuries. That's what I'm judging the preseason on. I'm not really concerned with how guys look in the preseason. I'm just not, especially the quarterback position, The Giants are 100% sticking with the plan. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. No question. Is George Kittle really a top 20 player in the NFL? It's very difficult when you have 32 teams to make a list of who are the best players in the NFL. And the reason for that is you have to immediately determine the most important position on the field. And the most important positions on the field in this order are quarterback, edge rusher, and cornerback. right? So if you're going to go by that, you're generally going to have most of your top 20 players are going to be in those positions. Quarterback, edge rusher, cornerback. So in terms of impact, is George Kittle a top 20 player in the NFL? You could make the argument that he is. You know, this is a great point by Cody. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in football. So you can't dismiss that. I mean, you could make an argument that he's top 20 in terms of his what he brings to that team. Absolutely. Yes, you could. All right, Manny wants to know who I think has the best offensive line going into this year. Great question, Manny. I'd have to think about that and look at some of the teams, but it's a very good question. Very good question. Zach wants to know what is the problem with Bosa? Dude won't sign. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the history of the game. He'll get his money too. And don't worry about Bosa. It's August. I'm not worried about that. Grant, did you ever think about doing a show on a Saturday evening? I have not. Sorry, I just lost my signal here for a minute. I hope we're all good. Give me, if you're still watching, just let me know that I'm still good. I just got a notification that we had lost the connection for a second. Eagles O-line is good. I would agree with you. Very true. That is true. So, I think, thank you, Manny. And Zach, thank you. I think when you look at the Eagles, yeah, they're one of the best, No question, No question about that. Somebody wanted to know about Yankee Stadium. I missed that, Patrick. Said Yankee Stadium moved across the street in 2008. I hate the new Yankee Stadium. When I say I hate it, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I miss the old Yankee Stadium so much. I walk into the new Yankee Stadium and I'm like, ugh, All right. We're having internet problems here today. I am sorry about that. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. I am really sorry. I'm having internet issues. Let's see here. And I apologize, but are we good? Because I've lost my connection here. Man. All right, you can still hear me. All right, so let's hope that I can get the connection back, and let me see what we can do. But thank you very much. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get the camera back. All right, well, you know what? Maybe I won't go as long as I thought I was going to go today. There's nothing I can do. I'm having some issues here with my equipment. I don't know what really is the problem, but there's not much, I can do about it. So audio is working great. So why don't we just do audio for a little bit, and you don't have to look at my ugly face. You don't have to keep paying the bills. There you go. You know what? You're right. That's my problem. I do need to keep paying the bills. All right. Somebody says, I'd rather see you on an NFL Sunday evening. Patrick says, I'd rather see you on an NFL Sunday evening occasionally rather than a Saturday night. The problem with that is you got Sunday night football, Patrick. I'm not going head to head with the Sunday night game. No one's going to be watching me when you got Sunday night football. So that's the issue, Paul says, just like the old radio days. That's right, Paul. Absolutely. Good point right there. But seriously, when you think about me going live on a Sunday night, Patrick, again, who's going to be listening on a Sunday night or watching me when you have all the football going on? And I'm talking about Sunday night football. So, for that reason, I probably wouldn't do that, For that reason, I probably wouldn't do that. Patrick goes, I forgot. It's okay, buddy. I forget stuff all the time too. So yes, I'm aware that there's no picture. Not much I can do about it right now. Having an equipment issue, and that's about all I can say. Sorry about that. I wish that it was better, but it's not. You know, I don't know what to tell you. No, somebody wants to know if I've ever interviewed. Cody wants to know if I ever got to interview Deion Sanders. No, you know, did not. I have not interviewed Prime Time. No, I watched them play in person, but I've never interviewed Deion Sanders. No, you know, good question. Now that I think about it, I never did. Never did. All right, what are your plans this weekend? What do you think? We're counting down our Sundays, right? We're going to have no freedom on Sundays in a couple of weeks. Think about that. Napes, what did I think of this year's Hall of Fame selections? I didn't really give it that much thought. And the reason why I say that is there are players that I disagree with that get in, right? I have not always agreed with the selections, and it's subjective, right? I mean, you look at the players, right? Rondé Barber, Darrelle Revis, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, Ken Riley, Don Coryell. I never really thought of Rondé Barber as a Hall of Famer just yet. Darrelle Revis, Joe Thomas, Hall of Famer. Zach Thomas to me is a Hall of Famer. DeMarcus Ware is a Hall of Famer. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So, I don't know. What do you think? I'll ask you. Did you have any issues? Do you have any issues? Again, for those of you that is just joining me, thank you. I am aware that we're having a video issue. There's nothing I can do about it right now. So thank you for, following us and checking us out. Don't forget about Bennett's, and that location in the Blue Oaks Town Center now is going to be available to you. So just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Prime Seafood and Steaks. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. They are awesome. Check it out. Absolutely awesome. So, Zach Thomas was unbelievably good. I have no issues. Zach Thomas is a Hall of Famer, Cody. You are absolutely correct. 100%. No doubt. Patrick says that Johnny Carson appeared in the dark on a classic Mary Tyler Moore episode once. Well, there you have it. I'm in the dark, right? I guess I could put my logo up. Could do that. Maybe better than a dark screen. There you go. Yeah, Johnny Carson. I love watching some of the clips from the Tonight Show. For those of you that were alive and had a chance to watch Johnny Carson, it was must-watch TV every night. Everyone I know watched the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson, it was incredible. The guests that they had on, comedians that made their debut, that became famous, singers, actors, actresses, athletes. The Tonight Show was unbelievable. It really was. It was great. It was with Ed McMahon, the band, the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Man, what a treasure. What an absolute treasure. Boy, don't you miss those days? That was TV entertainment, right? It wasn't so woke, and, the comedians could get on, the Don Rickles of the world and the Rodney Dangerfields, and they could make fun of whoever they wanted to make fun of, and people laughed, and they didn't take it personally, and they didn't try to cancel you. And it was great. It was great. We've lost that era, boy. I miss those days. I really do. I really do. You know, a guy like Don Rickles, would Don Rickles survive in our cancel culture and our wokeness in the country? I don't think he would. I mean, Don Rickles is one of the funniest men that I've ever watched. I mean, Don Rickles would make anyone laugh. But I don't know if that would fly today, which is sad, you know? Johnny Carson, that's a good job right there, Patrick. You know? Good job right there. No question about that. Chris says, oh, yeah, the good old days. Yes, no question. Someone says Tiki should be in before Rondé. I don't think Tiki Barber. Borderline, you know, who should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, is Roger Craig. You know? I think Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame. Somebody wants to know if I met former Cal football and Niners announcer Joe Starkey. Yeah, I've met Joe several times. I know Joe. Yeah. What do you think about the Hall of Fame inductions? Any issues? You know? What do you think? What do you think? Somebody says, Grant, if the New York Giants reached out and want you on TV instead of radio, would you still be on board? Well, there is no TV because all the games are on network TV. So the only games that are on TV are the preseason games. Riley says he agrees with me about Roger Craig. Jeff says spot on about Roger Craig. Listen, if Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame, the running back from the Denver Broncos, Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame. All right? Plain and simple. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. If you're going to have Terrell Davis in the Hall of Fame, who only had 4 good years, and you don't have Roger Craig in the Hall of Fame, something's wrong. Plain and simple. Something's wrong. I don't know how else to say it. Roger Craig, to me, should be in the Hall of Fame. Period. You know, to me, Roger Craig, Hall of Fame, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When I look at the history of the National Football League, and I watched Roger Craig, and I covered Roger Craig, and to me, he is, without question, worthy of being in Canton. And I'm not really sure why he's been passed over when you look at his career and what he did. I mean, I've always thought that Roger Craig should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, I just always have looked at it that way. And again, when I see Terrell Davis get in the Hall of Fame, then to me, Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame. Plain and simple. All right? Plain and simple. I don't know what else to say. All right. Love your questions. Thank you very much. We are rolling right along here. Sorry about the mix-up on the losing the camera, but we'll try to get it rectified here. Somebody says, Grant, do you feel more comfortable on radio compared to TV? I'm very comfortable in both, but I'd probably say radio. It's just there's a lot less mechanics to it. You don't have to worry how you're dressed or, you know, if the lighting's not good or, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's a lot of moving parts with TV on camera, a lot of moving parts. There are no moving parts in radio. It's you and one microphone, you know. Jeff wants to know, wasn't Roger Craig the first 1,000 rushing and receiving? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. No question about it. He was great, you know. Very, very good. No question about that. All right. Again, if throw me your questions. And again, I'm sorry about the camera issue. There's really nothing I can do about it. You know, I wish there was, but I got to figure this out and see what the problem is. It's just because my internet's obviously fine because you can hear me. So I don't know what the deal is with the camera, but I want my money back. I'm gonna go to them and go, hey, my camera doesn't work. I need my money back. You need to refund my money. Come on now. You know, give me that money. Where's my money? My camera doesn't work anymore. Come on now, right? Do you think that's fair? Should I do a rant on that? For crying out loud, you know? How am I going to do my YouTube shows without my camera? Do I think Sea Dog wants to know if I think that Eli Manning will be a first ballot Hall of Famer? It's a great question. Based on the other selections, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's a good question, you know? Good question. All right, other questions. Let's see. Did Favre give Michael Strahan the sack? Yes, he did. It was pretty obvious, you know? Pretty obvious. I don't think there's any question about that. All right, Kenneth wants to know, what quarterback has the most pressure on them this year? I would say Russ Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. I think Dak Prescott. I don't think anyone's got more pressure on them than Dak Prescott. I mean, I look at Prescott. He's number one on the list. I think Kirk Cousins, he's got to win some playoff games. I'd put him on that list. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is in New York. A lot of people think the personnel around him still not quite good enough. I think Aaron Rodgers will be fine. But to me, Dak Prescott is the guy, you know? Sea-Dog wants to know if Mariano Rivera was the most dominant baseball player I've ever seen. Probably. Yeah. I would probably say yes. You know? I would say yes. Cody says best closer I've ever seen, Mariano Rivera. Good questions today. Pittsburgh. Watt, real sack record holder, leader, maybe. You know? Yeah. I only Brett Favre knows. You know? Peter wants to know U.S. women's national team versus Sweden. I think they lose by 2 goals at least. What do you say? I say I don't care. I'm not watching. I won't watch, and I don't care. All right. Would I like to see basketball back in Seattle? Yeah, it's not only would I like to see it back in Seattle, it will be going back to Seattle. The NBA will have an expansion team in Seattle within the next 5 years. So, yes. Do you care about the United States women's soccer team? Because I don't. Any team that Megan Rapinoe is part of, I will not be part of. I will not watch. I think she's a disgrace. I think she's an absolute disgrace, and I will not support anything that she does or any team that she's on, period. And I think the United States women's team as a whole is an embarrassment to the country. That's my thoughts on the United States women's national team. So, no, I will not be watching that team, period. Now, I would also say I am not rooting for them to lose. I want to make that distinction. Okay? I want to make that distinction. I'm not rooting for them to lose, but I'm not rooting for them to win either. I don't care. They don't at all. Riley says that Mushnick ripped the women's soccer team. A lot of people are ripping the women's soccer team, and I think that they should, you know? So, Sea-Dog says the game starts at 2 a.m. anyway. The game could start at noon, all right? Or the game could start at 3 o'clock. The game could be played downstairs in the lobby of my condo building, and I wouldn't go down and watch it. All right? Period. Jeff says, Team Woke USA Women's Soccer. Bingo. Absolutely. This one. Did you know that Nike made some cartoon depicting Rapinoe as a superhero? I didn't know that until I read Phil Mushnick's story in the New York Post. That's another reason that I don't ever buy Nike products anymore. Period. I have not bought anything Nike in 5 years, probably, maybe more. So maybe more. I'm done with Nike. I don't buy anything Nike. That's just me. That's the great choice we have in this country. If you don't want a product, if you don't want to support something, you don't have to. And I'm not supporting the U.S. women's soccer team, and I'm not supporting Nike anymore. I go buy Under Armour, I go buy Champion, I go buy other sports apparel. I do not buy Nike. As a matter of fact, I stopped using Nike for my golf tournament. All my apparel was Nike, and I said, nope, I'm done. And listen, I used to buy everything Nike. I used to go to the Nike employee store in Portland when we were up there, and everything was Nike. All my stuff was Nike. All of the stuff I bought from my family was Nike. And no, I don't do it anymore. You know? No, I'm not. So, nope, not for me. What do I wear? I wear whatever's cost efficient for me. I don't have a product that I have to wear. So I wear whatever I just am in the mood for, and if the price is right. So there you have it. All right, Sea Dog, thank you. Alvin Kamara suspended 3 games. What do I think about the NFL getting around to suspend Kamara? Oh, I think it's a joke. I think it's a joke that they had to wait until this year. An absolute joke. So he's going to miss the first 3 games. And the other player that was involved in that brawl, I'm sorry, it's escaping me off the top of my head right now, is also suspended for 3 games. And again, I'll say this. The National Football League had that on video. It was Lamons. That's right. The Colts Lamons. And Chris Lamons suspended 3 games for beating the crap out of a man in a Las Vegas hotel. Saw it. It's on video. Period. Just the way it is. So Alvin Kamara, by the way, met with Roger Goodell earlier this week and said, quote, it's hanging over you, and obviously it's self-inflicted, but nonetheless, it's like a dark cloud. It's hard to enjoy the smaller things. Today, I had a boost at practice. I just felt better, like a weight was off me. I'm just looking forward to focusing on football. He apologized for his role in the fight. And we all know he accepted a plea deal that reduced his charge from a felony to a misdemeanor. Quote, I'd be lying if I said it hasn't affected me. It affected me last season. It affected me every day. I lost a lot. I lost money. I lost some friends. I lost some support from people. But like I've said, I've had a ton of support from this organization of family and friends, the people that know me, that know what I stand for and what I'm about. They keep me going. I'm not glossing over the situation and downplaying it anyway. It was poor judgment on my end, and it was obviously unfortunate. It's just got to be a thing where I'm mature, take ownership of it, and make better decisions. You know what? Good for him. I have a lot of respect for the way he's handling this, right? Good for him. There you have it. It's the way you should handle it. Good for him. That's outstanding. Good job on his part. Jeff says minimum 6 games should have been handed down. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Kenneth says James Ham released some behind-the-scenes info on Cousins' time with Sacramento. Goes hand in hand with the way you always felt about his character. What a waste of basketball talent. I didn't see what James Ham put out, but I've been saying that for years, and it took him until 2023 to put that out. Is because Kenneth, help me out here. I don't know what he said, but everyone that was in the organization knew. It wasn't a secret. It's not like people were like, gee, Grant's being unfair. Grant doesn't know what he's talking about. Grant is way off base. That never happened. Nobody ever came to me. The organization never came to me and said, you can't say that on the air. Nobody ever came to me and said, you're wrong. Not one time. Not one time. Somebody in the organization once came up to me and said that from the neck down, they're dealing with a man, and from the neck up, they're dealing with a 3rd grader. That's the way one executive of the Kings explained him to me. And I actually started laughing because unfortunately it's true. And the guy does have good qualities. I mean, he does. And I don't hate the guy. I really don't. I feel sorry for him. And the reason why I feel sorry for him is he pissed away what could have been a Hall of Fame career. And he pissed away hundreds of millions of dollars. And I feel sorry for him because he was immensely talented, but his mind was not capable of succeeding in the world of professional basketball. And it's unfortunate because he could have been the greatest player to ever play for the Sacramento Kings. He could have been the greatest player to ever play for the Kings. And he could have made the Kings into a perennial playoff team. You know? There you go. They, you know, I mean, I've never been around somebody that was worse on rookies. He ruined Nick Stauskas' career. Or he certainly tarnished it and affected it. Yeah, I lost my camera. We're getting a lot of messages for the people that are joining me. So thank you. I did lose the camera and there's nothing I can do about it. Do I think the Kings would have retired his jersey? No, they're not going to retire his jersey. Why would they retire his jersey? It's the stupidest thing in the world. Says, Napes, you tried to help DeMarcus with his interview process. I try to help him on many things, to be honest with you. Not just that. There are a lot of things that people don't know that I try to help him with. But, he wouldn't listen to me, because he always felt that I was against him. And so he never listened to me. It's okay. I did try to help the guy. I tried to help the guy on multiple occasions and try to give him some advice and some wisdom. A lot of people did. It wasn't just me. A lot of people did. And it's just unfortunate, but whatever. Somebody says, could I ever see myself having a sit-down interview with Cousins? Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't have any ill will towards DeMarcus. People go, well, gee, he baited you. Well, first of all, I've said this and I'm going to say it again. Any person that had asked me on social media what I thought of BLM, I would have answered the question the exact same way. Because I believe all lives matter, every single one. And I believe that it is wrong to continually put people in groups. And I think it is wrong to have this Black Lives narrative and automatically assume that anyone that says all lives matter is against Black Lives Matter. That's wrong, and that's hurtful for society. That makes things worse in our country, not better. It divides people. It does not bring people together. I don't know how many times I need to say that. All lives matter, every single one, is very self-explanatory. There is no gray area, okay? And here's something else that I've always talked about. Do people think, I want you to listen to what I'm saying here. Do people actually think that I would jeopardize my career by making any negative, quote, unquote, racist comments about the Black community or any other community, whether it be anti-Semitic remarks, whether it be remarks against gay people and the LGBTQ community, or anything of that magnitude? Do you really think that I would flush my career down the toilet by saying, you know what, I'm going to piss off and offend this group of people that's going to come across as either homophobic, racist, anti-Semitic? I can go on and on and on. It's just a joke. It really is. I don't even know what else to say. Would have I said anything differently? Yeah, you know what? I probably would have said this. I would have said all lives matter, every single one. Yes, that includes Black people. That I would say, or something like that. I would say all lives matter, every single one. And yes, that includes the lives of Black people. You know? I mean, is that what I needed to do? Or if I'd put all races matter, every single race, or if I'd put all race, religion matter, every single one, would have that been all right? We get caught up in semantics and we get caught up in nonsense because someone decided that saying all lives matter was counter to Black Lives Matter, which I had never heard of before. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I've said it. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I really don't. You know, I really don't. Was DeMarcus a better or worse teammate than Chris? Well, DeMarcus was a terrible teammate. Not even close. Chris was a much better teammate than DeMarcus. Not even close. You know? Brian says, I would think All Lives Matter covered everything you just stated. Well, if All Lives Matter didn't cover everything I just stated, every single one would cover up any misconceptions that anyone would have over the three words All Lives Matter. Because All Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, every single one, that's almost like saying All Lives Matter, every single one. Yeah, they all matter. I mean, what is wrong with our society? You know? I don't even understand. I don't understand. I really don't. Oh, well, we can move on. So, thank you, Miggs. Appreciate your support. Broadcast team hasn't been the same since. I quite often watch on mute these days. I've heard that from many, many, many people. Many people. And I have not, I've been very honest. I've been very open about this. I haven't watched one Kings game. I will tell you that I probably receive more messages from fans, and I still do, including some Kings owners of the freaking team that tell me they can't watch the games because it's a joke. And that when Kyle Draper does the games, it's so embarrassing that they can't believe that they allow him on the air to do play-by-play. Is that true? Because that's what I hear all the time. I hear it as that embarrassing, that bad. Whether you like Mark Jones or not, and I've never been a fan of Mark Jones, even before he became the announcer for the Kings. I've never been a fan of Mark Jones. I do not care for his play-by-play style. I think it is average at best. I think he is not very good. And I've always thought that. Not personal, because I had nothing against Mark Jones. So it had nothing to do with personal. My taste, I've never thought he was a good announcer. But I mean, everyone tells me that Kyle Draper is the worst announcer that they've ever seen. That's saying a lot. You know? That's saying a lot. All right. What else you want to talk about? I got to get going here in a couple minutes. Actually, I got to get going right now. All right. I'm sorry about the video today. All right. I really, really apologize for that. I'm going to work on that and see what it is. You all, it's been a great week. Really appreciate Marcus Breton and his column earlier this week in the Sacramento Bee. I appreciate all the comments. And I would say this, if you did not get a chance to listen to this week's podcast, which I dropped on Tuesday, check it out. I think that you will really enjoy it. And I don't normally brag about podcasts, but I think it's one of my best. Just go to ifyoudon'tlikethat.com or grantnapier.com or on your favorite podcast platform. Hey, have a fabulous weekend. I really appreciate all of you, and we'll talk to you Monday. All right? You so long.